Mr. Gavin Shuker.
Well, Mr. Speaker, climate change is development in reverse. A changing climate threatens the poorest people in the poorest parts of the world, and it is one of the gravest development challenges that we face. Global warming slows growth, creates new poverty traps for families and communities that are already struggling to survive. Failing to tackle it will not only stifle progress on poverty alleviation, but will actually cause millions of people to fall back into poverty. If temperatures continue to rise on current trends up till 2030, Malawi, Uganda and Zambia alone face an increase in poverty of up to a third. And when your very survival is under threat from failed crops or natural disasters, from thriving diseases or conflict over resources, economic development and other priorities become a romantic ideal. Now, the recent news of the agreement by the G7 to fully decarbonise the global economy should be welcomed by all sides. But the lack of a more immediate binding emission set of targets from the world's richest nations points to a profound lack of global leadership. The news from Bonn that negotiations are floundering just 6 months from what must be a historic climate change agreement is also deeply worrying. So there is an opportunity coming up to address this, and it isn't actually in December in Paris, it's in September at the Sustainable Development Goals Conference. It would allow us to set binding targets that are achievable in our own lifetime and during our own political careers. In September, therefore, I urge the Secretary of State and her counterpart in DFID to ensure that the climate change situation remains a standalone goal in the post-2015 Sustainable Development Goals, with the 2-degree target embedded in the language. And I must say, although I welcome her to her position, I was disappointed that she didn't get an opportunity to speak to the September conference in her own remarks when she started. Environmental sustainability should be integrated within the attendant targets, and we need measures that both approach and adapt, speak to mitigation and adaptation, and we need to make sure that both are adequately funded. It's vital the UK government leads by example and pushes for ambitious emissions targets for all countries, strengthened every 5 years on the basis of a scientific assessment of the progress towards the 2 degrees goal. The poorest people in the poorest parts of the world would deserve nothing less.